The Shark Deck.
Hello and welcome to Palace Intrigue. I am your host, Mark Francis. In the Mirror, the Fleet Street Fox writes under the headline, "Dear the Royal Family, you need to talk about Prince Harry." If one man told you he was thrown to the floor by his brother in a row over their wives, and you asked the brother if it was true, you'd assume if he said no comment that it probably was. If you heard the second man used to flush the heads of school friends down the toilet as a child and expected complete strangers to bow and curtsy to him, you'd be certain it was true. And if you learned that both men didn't even get a hug from Dad when their mother died, you'd be able to draw a straight line from cause to effect without taking a detour to, but do we believe it? Royal expert Ingrid Seward told The Sun, as a young boy, Harry kind of hero-worshipped William, as younger brothers often do, but there was also a jealous edge. He was frustrated over not being number one, and William would regularly win arguments by saying, "I am the oldest and I will be king." William could do what he wanted when they were younger, but as he got older, the idea of being the future king intimidated him. Harry would say, "If you don't want to be king, then I will," which Diana found funny, but I believe there is an edge of truth to what he said. Andrew Neil, writing for the Daily Mail, believes the boast that he killed 25 Taliban while serving as an army helicopter pilot in Afghanistan will do him the most long-term damage by far. I doubt he will recover from it. Most of the revelations in his book amount to further public airing of his family's dirty laundry, an endeavour to which he and his wife Meghan have devoted their lives since running off in a huff to California. Jaw-dropping as some of them are, their real import serves merely to confirm what most had already concluded about Harry. Blaming William and Kate for encouraging him to dress up as a Nazi for a fancy dress party in 2005 illustrates his repeated failure to take responsibility for his own stupid actions and reinforces his default position that no matter his own culpability, he is always the victim. But it is the excruciating stuff about Taliban kills which will haunt him and his family for some time to come. It is unseemly, unnecessary, and, most important of all, un-British. It amounts to a watershed in public perceptions of him, from which there is no turning back. Even the Americans, hitherto far more sympathetic to Harry and Meghan than the Brits, are turning on him. It's not just that there's something unsavoury about being proud of kills made from the world's most advanced and sophisticated attack helicopter against the enemy, however barbaric, armed largely with Soviet-era AK-47 rifles. It's the way he compounded this folly, as only Harry could, by saying he regarded the targets as pieces on a chessboard. His publishers are more interested in putting out content that will generate headlines and sell books regardless of the fallout to justify the massive advance they shelled out for Spare. Meghan, of course, is the one person Harry does listen to. I doubt he does or says anything without her approval. But in this matter she would have been wholly useless, ignorant of British military tradition or the consequences that could follow from flouting it. Maybe she was happy to have him talk of killing people on the grounds that it would counter the widespread impression that he's under her thumb by reminding people that he was once quite the macho man. Palace Intrigue will be right back. Author Tom Bauer tells the Mirror that Charles needs to hit back at Harry. The problem is, Charles doesn't like confrontation, and he clearly has guilty feelings towards his sons because of Diana and everything. His advisors don't realize that silence won't work. They can't say we are not going to wash our dirty linen in public because it is being washed in public. And the damage to the image of the royal family and the damage to the image of Britain is enormous. The only way to stop it would be for William to give an interview at some stage to say what Harry and Meghan are saying is completely untrue. And that really, in my views, is the only way in which they can restore credibility. They just cannot sit back because outside of Britain, people will believe everything Harry says and the consequences for Britain are really serious. Everything Harry and Meghan have said is very carefully researched and rehearsed to make as many headlines as possible. After the Oprah Winfrey interview and their trips to Britain, there was talk of reconciliation. But when Harry was here for the Queen's funeral, he knew what was in the book. He knew the bombshells he was going to deliver. So the idea that having stabbed the royal family in the chest, that he was also seeking reconciliation, was nonsense. And there you have it. If you'd like to email us, our address is thepalaceintrigue@gmail.com. Please follow us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your favorite shows. I'm Mark Francis. My thanks to John McDermott. This is Palace Intrigue. Good times.